to take care of it, that's all. So,
Thank you. All right, moving on. Next will be municipal services report.
Well, it's grass cutting season, and I think what we ought to do is, every now and then, we gotta hire somebody on an as-needed basis at $12 an hour to cut what John can't do, and that's how you cut the grass.
Okay. Okay, residents, any questions or comments for municipal services? Council? Anybody from council with any comments or questions for municipal services?
Mr. President,
Go ahead, Mrs. Brown.
if council doesn't have any.
No.
Just to, Mr. Lesher, remember recycling has started.
Yes.
And recyclables are collected every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday,
Oh, yeah,
yep.
did they?
I've been putting
Right.
mine out already.
Everybody's door, as promised?
Not yet, it is in the process. He gave me the draft, I looked at the draft is great. So he's now sending it to the printer, and it will go out to everyone's home with a flyer. And they asked to, and we have been having a lot of residents put their recyclables out in their regular,
Blue bins, I haven't got one.
in their,
We're not yet.
no,
Well,
we're,
Michael,
we're in the
Mr. Mayor, we
process
will
of
get
getting a
them.
grant to
Okay.
purchase them. In
Yeah,
fact, I
we're in
will
the process.
confer with Mr. McBlain later, because I do like Alden's type
have to pick a
of
color.
recycling
Okay.
bins, so, but we'll do that. But they are making a flyer, and it will go out door to door. That's
Thank
all I
you.
have. And, Mr. Lesher, just on the same token that you just said about the grass cutting, I did start obtaining, under the direction of, our early intervention program.
Yeah.
They wanted me to obtain estimates from contractors as to how much it would come in to cut some of the lots, because they felt it might be cheaper than hiring
You can
someone.
hire somebody at $12 an hour to do that.
So, but yeah, we have to, look for insurance and stuff. So they asked me to obtain estimates, so I did send out for estimates, and as soon as I get them back, I
yeah.
will send them to council, and we'll do a comparison. They'll do a comparison as to how much it will cost. and
Thank
stuff,
you.
so.
All right,
Question.
go ahead, Mr.
Municipal.
Williams. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Everybody's asking for
far-
trash cans too. We gotta
As
get
far
trash cans
as the
somewhere.
grass cutting, what in the borough do our highway guy do during the summer?
John does run the tractor. I know that because I'm around here, and last year John ran the tractor, and Tracy would go do like the park that was there, and that's basically it. You need one guy. John runs the tractor. You need one guy every couple of days to go out there and like do Colwyn Avenue and do the little park here and do the weed whacking. But it could be done with.
Well, can't John handle it?
John can't do it all. He can run the tractor. He can run the tractor because he does run the tractor, and you just hire somebody else at $12 an hour, and it gets done. And that's what and you really only need to have somebody like in May and June. You know how grass grows.
So I don't understand why we are looking for a contractor.
Well, that's what the state asked her to do, but what I would do if I'm running a business, but I would do a whole lot of things that haven't been done properly in this
Well,
town.
okay, what I'm saying
But
to you
if I'm
is-
running a business, I got John here, he's in the union, we gotta deal with him because we gotta deal with him, I don't even
And
know why they
again,
have
I
a union here
say-
anyway.
You said the state, Paula said
That's
the
what
state.
Paula said.
That's
I
what
go by
Paula
what she
says,
said.
okay? I can't see in the financial distress we are in that anybody would ask us to get a contractor for a
But I
point
think
of
they
an
just-
8-mile borough.
Get an
I
individual,
think-
right?
Exactly.
There you go.
Well,
Mr.
you know what we had
President.
before, well, Mr. Muser, and they hired Jackie Reddy, and I'm
Jackie
gonna
Reddy,
tell you
yeah.
how, they hired Jackie Reddy and didn't get rid of the two workers, but the borough council sat up here and told us how much money they were saving, but I've been in business a long
Political.
time, and that's definitely not happening. And including the fact that I was asked to put a bid in for that contract, and I told Bob Williams, I says, I'm not putting a bid in, because I ain't never gonna get the contract. So he gave me a copy of the contract. So I looked at the contract, and I changed the numbers, and I put like a $5,000 lower bid in, and I didn't get the contract, so. you know, that's just the way things are, but I didn't wanna waste my time doing it, but the guy kept asking me and asking me and asking me.
And community service work for free.
Yeah, well, I know, but you do need to have, pay somebody to,
Recognized.
go ahead, dear.
Go ahead, Jeanette.
I think the reason the state is asking for a contract is because, it would be cheaper in the long run. for
Yeah, if you get
everybody.
rid of the highway guy,
No, it would be cheaper to be, it would be cheaper because you're gonna have one straight price to cut the grass for all 6 parks. And you're not gonna be, you see, when you hire somebody, you gotta look at not just the $12 an hour, you gotta look at the payroll taxes and everything.
yeah, well, that's
If
a
you
whole lot
have,
cheaper than the contract, because he's gonna pay his guys $15, $16, $7
Well,
an
can
hour.
I
don't know
put
what
my
they
bid
pay.
in?
Yeah, well,
No, can't do it. I have a question, we're talking
ahead.
about the grass, I'm sorry. I know that, I haven't been down the field in a long time, but my son does go down there every day, and he used to work for, a grounds crew. And, the way that they're cutting, I mean, how is the field? I mean, is it in a good condition?
The
I mean,
field's in good
there's
condition.
no
Pretty
rutted
decent
holes
shape,
or
yeah.
anything like that, how is it?
No, it's, they run it, they can run that, they actually,
No,
the
but I'm saying
tractor,
for the
the
kids that are
tractor that
running
they
on it.
have, the tractor that they have in Colwyn that I've seen it in the garage, is more than sufficient, it was the perfect piece of equipment to buy for this town, okay? And I don't know when it was purchased, okay, and that,
the
and,
John
and,
Deere,
what's that?
are you
John
talking
Deere?
about the John Deere?
I don't know what, it's not green.
It's still
I
a
think-
John,
I
it's a
think
John
that,
Deere.
that
John
Triple,
Deere,
Triple
Fred.
Place Park is the worst park I've seen yet.
But
No,
it's a
Water Street.
floodplain, Mike.
Water Street.
Triple
Water
Place
Street,
Park,
I haven't been
Water
on Water
Street.
Street.
But Mayor Blue.
Water Street's not our
That's
property.
because no one in the last
Whose
year
property is it?
has
Not
done
ours, it's
anything
private
to
property.
Triple Park.
We have the park.
No one
Water
has done
And that's
Street
the
anything.
Park is
worst
not our park.
Park, we don't have
But
any
he
grass.
said
Oh, that's our
park.
last park. We
Remember-
still wait
But y'all gotta realize something.
That's just a weed whacker,
It's
there
just
is no
about,
grass there.
it's just about, you know, it's springtime, but it's gonna turn summertime.
Yeah.
That's where kids play at,
sure.
especially Triple Place. I see them down there playing football.
Kids are down at Water Street Park every day.
Yeah, everywhere.
Every
everywhere.
day.
We really gotta do
And that
something.
gave me
Here's
to
one of
come
the
down.
things, last summer, none of the parks had any wood chips done.
That was brought up earlier.
Mr. President, can I
Go ahead, Mr. President. Yes.
make a comment? There's been some,
Don't come near me. Don't put your hands near me. Get away from me.
Don't put me,
Get
Don't-
away from me.
don't take me.
Don't be this close to me.
Don't take
You are in my space.
You're in my space.
Get it? I'm not moving. Sit down. Nobody stands up and walks around in a meeting. Sit down.
Insubordination.
Act like a professional elected official for once and sit down.
I'm not doing anything, but I don't want to be taped. And
Well, that's too bad you're at a public
I don't want to
meeting.
be taped.
Meeting, everyone's allowed to be
We're
taped.
not
Public
talking to
meeting.
you.
She's doing it right now. You can
Sit down.
come on, she's doing it.
Grow up and sit down.
Insubordination. She
Oh,
is an
insubordinate me.
employee,
Write me up.
And she's telling the council.
Start acting like an elected official and sit
I
down.
am an elected official. and
Mr.
I
President, can we go on because she's just again disrupting?
President, I was trying to say.
Stick with the agenda.
We've had a lot of discussion so far about parks, and it's been good
Take
discussion.
me, I don't care.
And I think
Put me
you
on
have
your
very
tube,
valid
too.
concerns about the condition of the parks.
That's correct.
I think it would be a good operational measure to take that at the beginning of the year, and this is something that should be done every year, is to do some sort of survey or evaluation of your publicly owned property. Mr. Lesh is correct in terms of, you know, we want the public spaces to be open to the public. And, you know, there is a Pennsylvania law that does protect municipalities, you know, about any injuries that occur. If a child goes down and plays in a creek that's on public land, that's not necessarily our fault. It does offer you protections. However, those protections are limited if there are conditions that what the law says basically that you knew or should have
Right.
known exist. So if a kid goes down and jumps in the creek and falls on a rock in the creek and splits his head, that's not something you're going to be held responsible for unless it was somehow an unreasonably dangerous condition that you knew about. So for instance, if you've got a sewer grate
Right.
in the middle of the field, and the sewer grate is broken and metal is sticking up and a child falls on that and splits his head, that you would be held responsible for. So it sounds to me that in conjunction both at the, what we call the Floyd Park and these other parks, you know, what you ought to do is have someone, whether it be your maintenance person or it sounds like you might need the assistance of your building code official when as it relates to that property you described with the cars, to go out to the publicly owned spaces.
Yeah, they're using the publicly owned space right now for storage of these cars.
Well,
And we do have a police department
Yeah,
that's looking the other way at this whole thing.
Well, I think we should do an evaluation of that, and you know, to
Yeah,
the
but
extent of.
the cars are actually on public ground.
Yeah, because no one here, I don't think anybody, I haven't heard anybody say that they're against the public using public areas as long as they're safe.
John?
And that's the argument. One second. So I think if we have our building code official, perhaps in the situation involving the place where the cars are, make an index of what is wrong there, and let's start to address that. That will also assist the borough manager and myself if we want to take enforcement action against Mr. Cacciuti's property. It would be, you know, instead of just saying it's a mess, you know, that if we go to the district court, we have a survey that was done to say these things are wrong.
Yeah, you got proof right there.
And that way we can begin to address, and it doesn't sound like it's as bad at the end of Tribbett Place or what you're calling Water Street, if it is ours or not ours.
Yeah, Water Street's.
Then, but it's a good practice, best management practice to at basically the beginning of the year, you know, the beginning of your
Yeah, right.
season where people start to use your parks, to do a survey, because
Not really long now.
right, if a child were ever to fall and on an open sewer grate or something like that, one of the questions you're going to get from who, you know, the attorney or the insurance adjuster is, well, when did you go and look? And if you have a regular, you know, you do it every month, or, you know, while the parks are being used, you do it every 2 months, whatever the case might be, you know, you're going to be better off from a liability standpoint, because if the grate is broken today and a child falls tomorrow, you have to, the law says you have to be aware of it. You either have to have actual notice or that you should have known, you know. If it was, hey, everybody's known for a year and a half that grate's been broken, you know, then you're going to be held responsible. If it happens today and a child falls tomorrow, that's defensible. And if you have a regular schedule to take a look at these things, then the law will say, hey, you acted reasonably, you did what you were supposed to do. So maybe that's the answer, because everybody here is saying, we want the public to use our parks. You know, they're taxpayers, they paid for it. You know, it's just a matter of how do we do it safely, it sounds like what your discussion is.
Mr. President?
John?
Mr. President?
I had a
can I have the
question
floor?
for John, and he told me to wait.
Hold on, go ahead.
That's right.
John, Floyd Park, I heard about the fencing. Most of that fencing been there since they tore those houses down. Now, we've had a few floods down there. The last flood that we had,
Come on, Paul.
the last flood that we had, there was some pesticides. We had to wind up calling DEP because there was
Yeah, that's what Martha was.
matter of fact, it's still there. They have a pest company down there.
Yeah.
And they did not have
It's still there now?
them labeled.
Yeah.
They're still down there. So the ground, we have contaminated ground, period. So that ground down there is contaminated ground. So you really don't want the kids down there playing. But what happened was,
nobody's responsible for cleaning the pesticides up. Somebody has a spill and
it
it just
seeps,
lays there
it
since
seeps,
1999.
it's
Mr.
not-
President,
it's not
can
even-
I-
Can I finish?
Go ahead, finish.
It wasn't 99. It was within the last 4 or 5 years. Plus the fact, DEP came out and said that most of the ground in Colwyn, and this was after 99, is contaminated. Right now have, EPA has wells, little tiny wells that they've drilled in separate places to monitor this. So that is why you can't, that's why whenever we wanted to do a garden, you had to do a raised garden, because most of the ground in Colwyn is contaminated.
Well, I think what we need to do, because I have heard this conversation on and off during the past year here about the contamination and what certainly something occurred. I think maybe we, again, this is something the building code official can take a look at now.
Who's our building code official?
Our building code official is from Contamination Engineering.
Can I answer? I have a lot of your answers to
But I'm
this.
talking to I'm talking to council to council.
Paul,
This
she doesn't want to
is,
be on TV. Don't put her on TV. Don't do this. Be grown up, mate. Be grown up.
this,
All right, go ahead, Mr.
this is, we're supposed to be talking to.
I'll just finish my remarks and leave it. I think that, you know, it would behoove us to have the building code official look at the surface condition of the ground. All right, you can go and take a step that they call a phase one, you know, but I would say, you know, it might be something that would behoove you to get DEP involved.
DEP was involved.
Okay,
We called
well-
them that day because it was
Well, we
orange.
probably need to renew their involvement, because we haven't had active involvement since at least the beginning of 2014, all right, that I'm aware of. So if we get.
No, we've had involvement, but not necessarily Floyd Park. Like I said, there are wells.
If we get them to
There
come
are
back
wells
in,
here.
they might be able to have the private business that may be causing any contamination do the work under what they call Act 2 in Pennsylvania.
Right, but the thing, what I'm also saying too, and I wasn't here in the beginning, but, Couturity was given permission to put that fence up by 2 prior councils ago.
It was.
No,
It was
he
put
was
up
given,
by taxpayer money.
no, it wasn't.
The second one was.
Well, see, the main problem.
No, the one that has that
We trying
sign,
to
that Floyd,
avoid
that
lawsuits.
that sign of the Floyd
If we
Park,
jump back
that
in this
fence has been
situation
there
of-
prior to
again,
them becoming on
One of these
council.
kids going on there,
The only one
stop
that
messing
they
with
gave
that dirt,
is their
That's a
entryway.
lawsuit.
That's the only gate they
Again,
own down there. The rest of it
that's
is
what you gotta
ours.
look at.
Was put up by taxpayer money.
No, I don't know when it was put up. It was
Well,
put up before
according-
I ever got on council, so it's been up
According to
there.
Stevie McGonigal, because I went around to his gas station and I questioned him, okay, he said that the big long fence, except the gate, the one with the barbed wire, the one that closes, the big long fence was put up with FEMA money,
Right.
Right, when they took
okay,
those
and the
houses
gate
down.
was put up with private money, and the 2 gates were put up with private money, just exactly
two
what you
gates?
said. There's 2 gates there, there's one with a road on the right-hand side, right next to the house, it's got the barbed wire, and then there's the one with the combination on the public street that opens and closes.
The one that's all the way to that one house that was there,